So the amount of times I have killed plants in my garden or even house plants is way more than I would like to admit. When I had first started getting into gardening, I had planted flower seeds in my garden in front of my house, and I had expected them to grow overnight. But as winter fell by and spring came back along, I had actually forgot I had planted them. And so one day when I was walking by again, I had noticed seedlings started to sprout. So as I continued to water and I continued to maintain them, I had beautiful flowers at the end of spring. So knowing how to grow an organic garden can be beneficial information and even turn into a hobby. A garden can be way more than just fruits and vegetables. It's flowers and even herbs. Growing an organic garden doesn't require green thumb, actually. In fact, growing a garden is as simple as determining your climate, determining what you'd like to grow, and how to build and maintain a strong foundation. Every few seasons, I like to research and become a more effective gardener. Through years of trial and error, I've actually learned to navigate and build a little garden of my own. So, my main points are going to be the importance of hardiness zones, determining what you would wish to grow, and how to build and maintain a strong foundation. So, from seeding to harvest, the most important thing for your garden is a strong foundation, starting with the weather. As hardiness zones, otherwise known as climate zones, vary within the U.S., plants also have preferences in which zones they grow best too. So, hardiness zones, defined by the National Garden Bureau, are geographic areas with certain minimum average temperatures. So the USDA has divided them into 13 zones, and of those 13 zones, they're divided into 10-degree zones, and then further into 5 half degrees. So lower numbers on the scale, like 1, represent the Alaskan territory, and higher numbers, like 12 or 13, represent regions of Hawaii closer to the equator. So believe it or not, there actually are exceptions to these rules. So living in cities, it has more concrete, more asphalt, which holds warmer weather. Therefore, your hardiness zone could vary off of that. Or otherwise, mountainsides and countries could be lower because there's not as much concrete. Also, large bodies of water do regulate the air temperature, making it a little cooler as well. So having lived through the weather in your state, you can generally have an idea. The easiest way is to input your zip code in the USDA hardiness zone website, and if that doesn't work for you, you can go ahead and make an inference. So states like Oklahoma and northern Texas going up to Ohio and Kentucky are in the middle of the scale. So whether you're north or south of that is a general good idea to base off your zone. So now that we have generally narrowed down your zone, picking the crops and the flowers is the funnest part. So as the seasons change, so will the rotation of your crops. Certain fruits and vegetables taste better in their peak season. So when selecting your seeds, ensure that they are capable of growing within your desired time frame. So a good idea, a general rule of thumb, is when shopping for seed packets, go ahead and look at the back of your seeds and determine if they're going to grow within the time that you want to harvest them. Or research crops that can carry into the next season so you have a longer yield. And also, another thing is avoid selecting crops that are more susceptible to diseases and pests, and instead grow a more resistant variety of that. So plants do carry their own characteristics which benefit their seasonal growth. Plants that can combat heat without their leaves wilting are ideal for summer months. The fall provides cooling temperatures for more hardy vegetables like Brussels sprouts, apples, and more widely known in the fall as pumpkins. In the winter, you'd like to plant more resilient crops such as kale and cucumbers so that they're able to tolerate the cold. Growing more than just edible plants brings pollinators and life to your garden. An article written by the USDA states that 3/4 of the world's flowering plants and about 35% of the world's food crops depend on animal pollinators to reproduce. So, plants benefit from using the pollen to reproduce fruit and seed. So, planting a variety of colored flowers and crops not only just brings honeybees to your gardens, but butterflies, birds, and even bats will visit your garden. So, now determining what will be in your garden, how do you build and maintain a strong foundation? Building and maintaining a strong foundation for your garden starts with the soil. In a garden, having a nutrient-dense soil is crucial for growth. Just like you need nutrients to thrive, your garden needs nutrients to thrive. Giving your plants proper soil will encourage strong root growth. Better homes and gardens suggest adding organic matter like compost or decomposing material into your soil to supply the plants with plenty of nutrients. Redistributing nutrients through every cycle of crops not only ensures that redistributing to the soil through every cycle ensures the soil is being replenished, or nutrients in the soil is being replenished. So based on the type of plants you grow in your garden will also determine your watering schedule. So ideally you want to aim to keep the water moist, or to keep the soils moist. Overwatering your plants can encourage root rot. Underwatering your plants can encourage the leaves to wilt and it will stunt their growth. And watering the leaves instead of the soil will encourage fungal infections. As your garden flourishes, the attraction of bugs and pests become inevitable, yet there are a couple strategies to minimize them. According to Architectural Digest, some of the most common pests to look out for are aphids, ants, and mice. Organically minimize pests by a strong blast from the hose when watering, or you can provide physical barriers to protect your plants. Or you can even purposely introduce beneficial life to like ladybugs or even frogs, which prey on the pest as a source of food. So today we discussed the theory of hardiness zones. Second, what you would like to grow inside of your garden. And third, some tips and tricks to maintain a strong foundation for your garden. So growing a garden does not require the typical green thumb, rather the patience and attention to your climate. Seasonal crops, building and maintaining your garden to grow. So in conclusion, applying with what you learned today will help you start an organic garden of your own.